In Atharva Veda, an entire chapter is devoted to describe the grace, the divinity of a woman, and the importance of a woman in a man's life, the importance of a child, the importance of a daughter, and how a daughter should be treated by her father, how a wife should be respected and revered by the husband. In fact, Atharva Veda clearly states that a woman should never be allowed to shed tears. She should never be given sorrow. When our sacred scriptures so powerfully define the importance of women and how the woman should be revered and respected and treated, and in fact, it also defines and states that the woman should be guiding the husband and the family towards prosperity and towards enlightenment itself. That was the purpose of marriages in those days. The enlightenment of each other was the only purpose of marriages. That is why women were revered and respected, not just by the society, it was in the basic tenements of our culture, of our Hindu Dharma itself. From there, we have traveled away, way far off, but not too far that we cannot reconnect and revive the powerful Hindu feminine consciousness, the powerful Hindu feminism. In Hindu feminism, there is no exclusivity of man. Hindu feminism is all about inclusivity of everybody. The woman is taught to be an all inclusive personality where she is able to or has this extraordinary characteristic to able to live happily with anybody and everybody. Not only does she live happily, she is able to make people around her happy and make them feel special, make them feel empowered, make them feel free. This is the power, this is the powerfulness of a Hindu woman. The teachings of a Hindu woman is nothing but all inclusivity. It teaches us women not to disparage. It teaches us women, it empowers us with the ability to steer anybody's life, anybody's future to better prosperity and towards enlightenment. What an extraordinary ability. What a unique way of living the Vedic lifestyle was for women. She was the power behind everything that moved during the Vedic times. But she did not use it abusively like today the men do. Let me not generalize and say all men. There are about almost 60% men who are very abusive towards all relationship and become more abusive, especially when it comes to the intimate partners. Why? It's a love marriage. The man and woman fall in love and marry. And then what happens to the man? Why does he behave so violently and abusively? I've heard so many shocking stories that I'm still not able to relate why the man would fall in love with the woman and then behave so violently, so abusively, so disgracefully towards the object of his love, towards the object of his life, towards the center of his life. I could never ever imagine or understand this thinking process of what happens. Why is the abuser so abusive towards the object of his love? Is it something that we as social consciousness are undergoing? Or is it only exclusive to man? But even if it's exclusive to man, the man is suffering, which is why he's exploding with violence. If he is being physically abusive, that means he feels suffocated inside of him and he's not able to heal that suffocation or even understand that his very basic problem is some inner suffocation because of which he's expressing this violent behavior of wanting to beat and destroy everything around him. And the only thing that will tolerate, or the only one that will tolerate that would be his intimate partner or someone he loves the most, or someone who loves him the most. If someone is being psychologically abusive, that shows a very low sense of self worth. He may be a big person outside, he may be a CEO of a company, he may be owning businesses, he may be a big, powerful political personality, he may be a successful actor, he can be the president of the nation. But if he is violently behaving with his intimate partners, that means he has a very, very low sense of self worth, self ridicule, and self hatred, which he is not able to heal and complete, and nor able to express, and nor able to identify the problem. Only when you're able to identify the disease or diagnose the disease, the healing or the treatment you give the disease would be effective. But here, what we do is we digress. We put the blame of this behavior onto the present fast paced society. Saying, oh, I'm too busy, I have faced so much of turmoil at work, I have so much of pressure, because of which I am like this, which is not true. No man would be violent outside if he was not suffering inside. If we can all identify that, the abusers would have the ability to stop the abuse and start powerful inner healing, which will transform their lives and make them live their life the way they want versus the present situation they are living in. If you see every abuser, once he gets over that phase of having abused his intimate partner, the next day he starts profusely apologizing or crying, or to make up for that disgraceful behavior, he buys expensive gifts if he has the capacity to. Or if he is not economically that wealthy, he will start pacifying his wife or his intimate partner in different ways by trying to take care of her, by apologizing to her, by crying to her. But the very next day or within 24 hours, the animal inside of him, rather, sorry, animals are not this violent. It is the violence inside of him that bursts out of him uncontrollably. It is not that he is able to control it. If he was able to control it, he would do it. The same applies for a man who does or who abuses people psychologically. Yes, he knows he's abusing them psychologically. He gets sadistic pleasure out of it, but he does not know how to stop it. He does not know it is self destructive. Any person who indulges in psychological abuse does not understand the impact that is creating it on himself, his consciousness, his relationship. That is the saddest fact. It's the saddest part of the society we are living in today. A lot of these people who psychologically abuse another human being feel there's nothing wrong. They're not able to identify that they have fallen to such low levels of inhumanity that it's just a border, it's just a very thin red line that is stopping him being defined as a devil. But if you take time and start consciously living, Nityanandam, with all auspicious blessings and grace of my Guru, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Sri Nityananda Paramashivam, I welcome you to this video on conscious living. Before we move forward, I would like you to take few moments of your time to interanalyze and see and understand what I am meaning by psychological violence. Any kind of subtle bullying, any kind of shaming, even it could be subtle, it could be humorously paraphrased. That is the beginning of extreme inner violence inside of you. If you don't consciously catch it and stop it, it is going to manifest itself into a maniac, rather, into a maniacal way. Maniacal, unhelpful way. At the same time, if you've decided you want to stop this behavior, you want to change yourself, then feeling guilty or feeling shameful is not the solution. Take a clear decision to live a life based on solutions. If you've decided to live the life based on solutions, then this solution will be the first step towards healing yourself of your low self inner image, of your low sense of self worth, of your self hatred, and the self destructive lifestyle you are living. Any abuser is nothing less than a walking time bomb who's waiting to explode and destroy everything around them bloodlessly. If someone is indulging in physical violence, there is a lot of blood, there's a lot of ugliness. But someone who's indulging in psychological violence or psychological abuse or psychological terror is 100 times worse than a person who indulges in physical abuse or physical violence. There's no way licenses that physical violence is okay. No, that is not okay. But this is worse because a person who's inflicting psychological abuse does not even realize he's become a demon, a devil himself. It is time that you all start waking up and living consciously and watching every action of yours and catch the subtlest and subtlest of violence inside of you and live consciously by completing with it. Anybody who understands they are the perpetrators of psychological abuse, I do recommend this is the best technique for you all to do. It is an intense 1 hour of yoga. It's a unique yoga put together by my guru, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Sri Nityananda Paramashivam. Why is this yoga unique? While you are performing it, you will experiencing it. You will experience it. That is one aspect. The other I would like to explain to you here is this is the yoga which each asana has different components. It is not just yoga. It has mudra, it has pranayama, it has slokas chanting, and many more aspects in each and every asana. Such a comprehensive, complete, self fulfilling yoga has never been revealed to the world till now. This Pratama Vinyasa Krama not only will heal you of your self hatred and the self destructive lifestyle, it will help you re establish and recenter and re-stabilize yourself into the space of completion and start conscious living. Only when you start conscious living, you will be able to become the highest, the best personality that you want to express yourself. Every human being born wants to leave behind a legacy of the good, a legacy which all humanity can remember forever and which will help all humanity. But that you can do if you start the change from yourself. Any kind of self destructive behavior, any kind of violence, psychological abuse, your mind even starts generating. Take a break in life. Do this Pratama Vinyasa Krama before you do the next action, and you will see the space of thinking, the space of action, the space of decision will be vastly different. And any decision you take or do after this intense 1 hour of Pratama Vinyasa Krama will just bring you and your dear ones a lot of joy. Because unconsciously, unknowing to you, this yoga has been energized and empowered to heal each and every one of us of our self hatred and our self disgust. Just enjoy this 1 hour of yoga and please share with me your results because when you share your results to the world, you will be encouraging more and more people to complete with their inner violence. When each of us complete with our inner violence, we contribute to global peace because we make our family and friends happy and peaceful to be with us. you will be triggering the change for global peace. Please share this video with all your friends and your family members, because I really encourage you and want each and every individual to live a conflict free life, to live a better quality of life, because each of us are born and deserve to live and die joyfully. That's the journey of life. The journey of life is only joy with no conflict, and you can experience it by practicing this technique of Pratama Vinyasa Yoga, the link which I will be sharing in the description box below. Don't miss this yoga. This yoga is to heal yourself, your inner space, and this violent behavior which you are carrying in your muscles and your memories. Please start practicing it, and practice it at least for 21 days without fail. Be consistent, be ferocious, and continuously do it for 21 days, and you will start feeling the transformation inside of yourself, which will start expressing and manifesting it from in the outside, and you will start attracting and start living life the way you want. By psychological violence or psychological abuse, I know it is not just nowadays boxed only to the men. The men are no longer just the perpetrators in an intimate relationship. I have seen women who are also perpetrators of psychological abuse. A few years ago, in my workplace, I had a very good friend of mine who was a cinematographer. We've been working for almost 3 years together, and I had no idea that he was going through conflict or trauma in his house. One day, he just didn't turn up for work, and I assumed he was ill, or maybe he was sick, or he just went out with his family. I know he's been married for 7 years by then, and I assumed that he had a happy life. The second day, when he didn't turn up, I called and asked, "Oh, where is the cinematographer?" And it's rather sad and shocking to hear that he had committed suicide. There was no logical reason for him to commit suicide. He was pretty wealthy, he had everything that a material world could give him. It was then I heard that in 7 years of his married life, he and his wife have never spoken to each other, and his wife just refuses to even look at his face when he enters his house. That was the kind of psychological abuse he experienced for 7 years. And unfortunately, he took a life negative decision of committing suicide, because we are not empowered with solutions to deal with this kind of situations. Living life and choosing solutions versus life negative thoughts and life negative decisions is the journey of life. If any of y'all need more help, need more healing or blessings to recover from the depression, the trauma, or the suffering that each of you would have experienced in any kind of traumatic relationship, please reach out to me either on my Twitter handle or on my Facebook page or on my email ID, which will all be below in this description box. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to share and enrich the world by making them practice living the life of Ahimsa. Thank you for watching. Nityanandam.